She was just a maid they looked down on, forced to lie to the only man who ever loved her. He left her broken and disappeared. Years later, he returned, cold and powerful, only to meet 3 blue-eyed children who changed everything. Hello, family. Welcome to Tales with Francis Stories. Please subscribe and leave a comment. It truly means the world to us. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and loved ones, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss a new story. Thank you for supporting us. Layla James was only 18 when she started working as a maid at Westbridge Estate, one of the biggest mansions in the country. The place looked like a castle, shiny floors, gold doors, and windows so tall they almost touched the sky. Layla didn't come from money. She lived with her grandmother in a tiny apartment. She worked hard every day to buy food and medicine. But even though life was hard, Layla still smiled. She still believed tomorrow could be better. What she didn't know was that the very next day, her life would change in a way she never saw coming. Jordan Westbridge arrived home for summer break that year. He was tall, calm, gentle, but the first thing everyone noticed were his bright, blue eyes. They were the kind of eyes you never forget. One morning, Layla was carrying a heavy basket of towels when Jordan stepped into the hallway. "Hey, let me help you," he said, already reaching for the basket. Layla panicked. No, it's okay, sir, I can." He shook his head with a smile. "Don't call me sir. My name is Jordan. Sir makes me feel too old." She blushed nervously. "Okay, Jordan." That moment changed everything. Jordan began talking to Layla every time he saw her. In the kitchen, in the hallway, even when she was sweeping the garden path. "You always smile," Jordan said once. "How do you do that?" Layla shrugged. "Smiling makes work feel lighter." "Well," he said softly, "I like your smile." Layla almost dropped her broom. Soon, they didn't just talk. They fell in love without meaning to. He told her secrets. She told him dreams. He brought her snacks from town. She taught him how to fold towels like a hotel maid. And then, one quiet evening, under the garden lights, Jordan whispered, "Layla, I think I love you." Her heart beat fast. "I think I love you too," she whispered back. But outside the garden, someone was watching. Jordan's mother, Mrs. Eleanor Westbridge, was known all over London. Powerful, strict, always wearing fancy clothes and diamond earrings. She wanted Jordan to study in America. She wanted him to become a powerful, successful businessman. And she wanted him to marry someone rich, someone from their own social circle. What she did not want was her son falling in love with a maid, a girl who scrubbed floors with her hands, a nobody with no family name, no wealth, and no right in her eyes to dream of a Westbridge life. So the day she saw Jordan holding Layla's hand, her eyes burned like fire. That night, she went straight to Jordan's room. No knocking. No warning. "You are ending this," she said sharply, her voice cold with authority. Jordan stood tall, his jaw set. "No, I love Layla," she scoffed. "No, you do not love a girl who scrubs floors for a living," she snapped. "You are a Westbridge. You will take the scholarship. You will leave for America, and you will forget she ever existed." Jordan shook his head firmly. "I'm not leaving Layla." When she realized her words were not getting through, she changed her approach, because she wasn't done. The next morning, she called Layla into her office. Layla's heart sank immediately. People like Mrs. Westbridge did not summon servants unless something was wrong. When the rich called your name, it was never for good news. Her hands trembled as she walked toward the office door. When she stepped into the large, silent room, the door closed behind her with a heavy click. "Sit," Mrs. Westbridge said, her voice flat and cold. Layla sat slowly, her heart pounding. "You will break up with my son," the woman said without emotion. "You will tell him you never loved him. You will tell him you have found someone else." Layla's throat tightened. I can't," she whispered. "I love him." Mrs. Westbridge leaned forward, her eyes sharp and unkind. If you don't do exactly as I say, she said calmly, you will lose your job today. Layla's breath caught. And I know your grandmother is very sick, the woman continued. Without this job, how will you take care of her? How will you buy her medicine? Layla gasped. How do you know about my grandmother? Mrs. Westbridge did not blink. I know everything, she said coldly, and I decide everything in this house. She paused, then spoke slowly, like a final judgment. Break my son's heart, or lose everything you have. Layla felt the room spin. She wanted to scream, but all she could see were her grandmother's weak hands and her tired eyes. Layla's heart broke in two. I'll do it, she whispered. That evening, Jordan was waiting for her in the garden with a small box in his hand. Layla already knew it was jewelry he loved, surprising her. When she reached him, he smiled brightly. Layla, I got you something. She looked away. Jordan, we can't be together anymore. He froze. What? Why? Because I don't love you, she said. Her voice shook, but she forced it to sound firm. I never really did. I only wanted what you gave me. The expensive gifts, the money, all of it. Jordan stepped closer, his eyes searching her face. Layla, look at me, he said softly. I know when you're lying. She shook her head hard. I'm not lying, she said quickly. I found someone else. Someone better. She swallowed, forcing the words out. And I love him. He proposed, and I accepted. We're getting married soon. Jordan dropped the box. The bracelet inside hit the ground with a soft cling. Layla, please, he whispered. Tell me why you're really doing this. She closed her eyes. I don't want you anymore. Jordan's heart shattered. That night, he made up his mind. He went to his mother and said quietly, I'm leaving. I'll take the scholarship. I'm going to America tomorrow. In the darkness of the room, Mrs. Westbridge smiled. Her plan had worked. 2 weeks after Jordan left, Layla fainted while mopping the hallway. Everything went dark. When she woke up, she was lying on a hospital bed. A doctor stood beside her, his expression gentle but serious. Layla, he said quietly, you're pregnant. Layla covered her mouth as her heart began to race. Pregnant, with Jordan's baby. But before she could even breathe, the doctor added, and you're not carrying just one child. Layla looked up, confused. You're having triplets. Triplets. 3 babies. Her world stopped. She cried into her hands. Not because she was scared, but because she knew Jordan would never know. She was alone, and the only boy she ever loved was now thousands of miles away. Because of a lie she was forced to tell. Layla sat on the edge of the small bed in the clinic room. Her hands were shaking. Her ears were still ringing from the doctor's words. Triplets. 3 babies. Her babies. Jordan's babies. Tears rolled down her cheeks once again. She pressed her hand to her stomach, her heart pounding fast. Jordan. If only he were here. If only he knew. But Jordan was already far away. Across the ocean, living a life his mother chose for him. Layla returned to Westbridge Estate later that day. She tried to act normal. She tried to work. But Mrs. Eleanor Westbridge noticed immediately. That night, Layla was called back into the same cold office. The same chair. The same sharp eyes. You're pregnant, Mrs. Westbridge said flatly. Layla froze. How? How do you know? Layla whispered. Mrs. Westbridge crossed her arms. I told you. I know everything. Layla stood up, panic filling her chest. Please, ma'am. Jordan doesn't know. I won't tell him. I won't disturb his life. I promise. Mrs. Westbridge stared at her for a long moment. Then she spoke slowly. You have 2 choices. Layla's heart beat louder. First choice, the woman said, her voice calm but cruel. You take care of this problem quietly. You forget this ever happened, and you continue working and helping your grandmother. Layla understood what she meant. Her breath caught in her throat. And the second choice? Layla asked, her voice shaking. Mrs. Westbridge leaned forward. "You disappear. You leave the country. You leave my son's life forever. You never come back. You never tell him about these children. Ever." Layla's knees almost gave out. "You can't do this." Layla cried softly. "They're innocent. They're his children." Mrs. Westbridge's eyes were cold. "My son will never be tied down by a maid in her mistakes." Layla felt her heart break in a new way, deeper than before. She thought of Jordan's smile, the way he held her hand like she mattered. She placed both hands on her stomach. "I won't hurt my children," Layla said, her voice weak but firm. "I won't." Mrs. Westbridge stood up. "Then you choose the second option," she said. "You disappear." That same night, Layla packed her few clothes into a small bag. No goodbye, no hugs, no letters. Mrs. Westbridge gave her money not as kindness, but as control. "Take this," the woman said, "and if you ever contact my son, I will make your life very hard." Layla nodded silently. Before leaving the estate, she looked back one last time at the garden where she and Jordan once laughed. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the night. Then she walked away. Forever. Months later, in a small city far from London, Layla gave birth. 3 babies, 2 boys, 1 girl, all healthy, all beautiful. And when the nurse gently placed the babies beside her, Layla's breath caught. She looked from one tiny face to the next, and something deep in her chest began to ache. They all had bright blue eyes. The same blue eyes she had once fallen in love with. Jordan's eyes. She named them carefully. She worked hard. She raised them alone. She never spoke Jordan's name, not because she didn't love him, but because silence was the only way to protect her children. 10 years passed. Layla James was no longer the scared maid from Westbridge Estate. Life had been hard, but she survived. She now worked as a janitor at a very big and expensive hotel in New York City called the Royal Crest Hotel. It was a place for rich people, shiny floors, glass walls, and golden lights. Layla cleaned hallways, bathrooms, and elevators. She worked early mornings and late nights, not because she wanted to, but because 3 small lives depended on her strength. Ethan, Noah, and Lily. Ethan was the quiet one, always watching and thinking before he spoke. Noah stood close to his brother and sister, protective even at his young age. And Lily. Lily smiled easily, the kind of smile that made hard days softer. People often asked, where did they get those eyes from? Layla always smiled and answered, from their father, but she never said his name. The children never complained. But sometimes, late at night, Lily would ask softly, Mommy, why don't we have a daddy like other kids? Layla would hug them tight and whisper, because sometimes life hides people, but it doesn't mean they don't love you. One morning at the hotel, the manager gathered all the workers. Everyone, listen up, he said loudly. We have a very important guest arriving today, the new owner of the Westbridge Group. Layla froze. Her heart skipped. Westbridge. That name hadn't touched her ears in years. No mistakes, the manager continued. He's powerful, rich, and very strict. Layla felt her hands shake. She told herself it couldn't be him. Too many years had passed. He lived a different life now, far away. But fate had already made its move. The hotel door slid open. The room seemed to still. A tall man stepped inside, dressed in a dark suit. His presence was heavy, commanding, sharp, controlled. Layla didn't need to see his face. The familiar flash of blue was enough. Her breath caught. It was Jordan Westbridge. He was no longer the gentle boy she once loved. He was a man now powerful, successful, surrounded by people who moved carefully around him. Layla quickly lowered her head and pushed her cleaning cart away. But it was too late. Jordan's eyes landed on her, and for a brief moment, everything rushed back. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the pain he thought he had buried. His expression hardened. So, Jordan said sharply as he walked toward her. "This is where you ended up." Layla stood still. "I didn't expect to see you here," he continued, his voice loud enough for others to hear. "Cleaning floors again. Funny how life works." Layla swallowed. "I'm just doing my job, sir," she said quietly. Jordan gave a short, bitter laugh. "So we're back to sir now," he said, "after breaking my heart, after lying to me, after choosing someone else." He went on bitterly, "This is your life? To think you left me for someone better." His words cut deep, but Layla didn't cry. She didn't beg. She lifted her head and said calmly, "I didn't come here to talk about the past. Please excuse me." Jordan stared at her in disbelief. "How dare you act proud?" he snapped. "You broke me. You disappeared. And now you stand there like nothing happened?" Layla's eyes filled with tears, but she held them back. "I survived," she said quietly. "That's all." She pushed her cart and walked away. Jordan stood there, angry, but also confused. That afternoon, outside the hotel, Ethan, Noah, and Lily were waiting for their mother after school. Some kids nearby began to laugh. "Where's your dad?" one boy mocked. "Did he run away?" Noah stepped forward. "Our dad is not a bad person." The boy laughed louder. "Then where is he?" The children's eyes filled with tears. "Hey!" A deep voice cut through the noise. Jordan had stepped in. "That's enough," he said firmly. "Leave them alone." The kids went quiet and quickly ran off. Jordan looked down at the triplets. "You okay?" he asked gently. They nodded. Then he noticed it. Their eyes. His heart skipped. Bright blue, just like his. Jordan bent down slightly. "What are your names?" he asked. The first boy spoke up. "I'm Ethan James." The second followed quickly. "I'm Noah James." The little girl smiled. "And I'm Lily James." Jordan's smile froze. James. His breath caught. James. Layla's last name. Something wasn't right. His chest tightened. Before he could ask more, a familiar voice rushed in. "Children." Layla ran over, fear on her face. "Are you okay?" she asked them. "Yes, Mummy," Lily said. "The man helped us." Layla froze when she saw Jordan standing there. Their eyes met. Jordan spoke slowly. "Are these your children?" Layla's heart pounded. "Yes," she said quickly. "They're mine." Jordan looked from the children back to her. "They have my eyes," he said quietly. Layla shook her head. "No," she said fast. "You're mistaken." Jordan stared at her, unmoving. "Who is their father?" Layla swallowed and forced a lie. "He's not you." Jordan didn't need to respond. Something in his chest already knew the truth. That night, Jordan couldn't sleep. Layla's face refused to leave his mind. And neither did the children. 3 of them. There was something about them he couldn't explain. Something that unsettled him. He tried to convince himself it meant nothing, but the feeling would not let go. He remembered the day Layla left him, how she said she didn't love him, how easily she claimed she had chosen someone else, how she never fought to stay. And now, years later, she was standing in front of him again, with 3 children, with her surname, and a truth he wasn't ready to face, but couldn't ignore. Jordan sat up in bed, his chest tight. "Something doesn't add up," he muttered. He tried to push the thought away. She moved on, he told himself. She chose another man. That was the story he had believed for years. But then he remembered how quickly she panicked when he asked about the children, how fast she denied it, how her hands trembled just for a moment. Jordan lay back and stared at the ceiling, wide awake. By morning, confusion had turned into resolve. He didn't rush to confront Layla. Not yet. He needed the truth, not guesses. So he stayed quiet. He watched. And he began to look for answers. Days passed. And Jordan began to notice things. How Layla never asked anyone for help. How she worked late and left early, without complaint. How the children waited quietly for her after school, patient and well-behaved. One evening, as the hotel grew quieter, Jordan pulled the manager aside. He lowered his voice. "How long has Layla worked here?" The manager thought for a moment. Almost 10 years, he replied. Jordan felt a tightness in his chest. 10 years. The same number of years he had been gone. That night, alone in his room, Jordan made a decision. He hired a private investigator, not to hurt anyone, not to cause trouble, just to know the truth. Days later, the report came in. Layla James left London suddenly. No husband, no partner, no record of any man in her life. And then, the medical records. Triplets, born 9 months after Jordan left the country. Jordan's hands began to shake. His voice dropped to a whisper. No, Jordan couldn't wait for morning to come. He knew Layla sometimes worked the night shift, and he was certain he would find her at the hotel. So he went there late that night. The halls were quiet, almost empty. Layla was cleaning a long, silent corridor when she suddenly sensed someone behind her. She looked up and froze. Her heart dropped. "Jordan," she said softly. "We need to talk," he replied, his voice low but firm. Layla tightened her grip on the cleaning cloth and tried to walk past him. He reached out gently and stopped her. "Please." They sat in a small, empty room. The silence between them felt heavy. Jordan drew in a slow breath, steadying himself. "Layla." His voice softened. "Tell me the truth. Did you have children after I left?" Layla's hands tightened in her lap. Her eyes filled instantly, and she lowered her gaze. "Yes," she whispered. Jordan swallowed hard. His voice trembled. "Are they mine?" Layla stood up suddenly, shaking her head. "No," she said quickly. Too quickly. "I told you, they're not yours." Jordan rose as well, pain flashing across his face. "Then why do they have my eyes?" he asked, his voice breaking. "Why were they born the same year I left? Why did you disappear from the country without a word?" Layla's strength finally gave way. She couldn't deny it any longer. She covered her face and broke down. "I didn't want to lie all those years ago," she sobbed. "I never wanted to. I was forced." Jordan froze. "Forced? How?" he asked quietly. Through her tears, Layla told him everything. His mother, the threats. "After you left, I discovered I was pregnant," she cried. "And your mother gave me 2 choices, disappear or destroy my babies. So I disappeared." Jordan staggered back a step, his chest tightening. "My mother," he whispered, disbelief and pain mixing in his voice. Layla nodded. "She made me promise never to tell you." The room fell silent, and in that silence, everything changed. Jordan's heart broke in a new way. The next day, Jordan took the test, even though, deep in his heart, he already knew the truth. Layla would never lie to him, not after everything she had endured. Then, he waited. When the results finally came back, his knees nearly gave out. Ethan, Noah, Lily, his children. Jordan pressed the paper to his chest, his breath breaking. "I missed everything," he whispered. Their first steps, their first words, and, without wasting another moment, Jordan went straight to his parents' mansion. His mother smiled when she saw him. "Jordan, my son." "Stop." His voice was calm, but final. The smile faded. Jordan stepped forward and placed the test results on the table between them. "You lied to me." Mrs. Westbridge's face drained of color. "You forced Layla to leave," Jordan continued, his voice steady but shaking underneath. "You made her disappear. You took my children from me." His father opened his mouth to speak. Jordan lifted a hand. "I'm done listening." Mrs. Westbridge broke down, her composure finally cracking. "I was protecting you," she cried. "I was protecting your future." Jordan looked at her, his eyes cold with clarity. "No," he said quietly. "You were protecting your pride." That day, Jordan packed his things and walked away. He moved out. He cut off control. For the first time, he chose his own life. That evening, Jordan went to Layla's small apartment. When she opened the door, the triplets stood just behind her, holding on to her clothes, nervous and unsure. Jordan stepped inside and slowly knelt in front of them, bringing himself to their level. "My name is Jordan," he said gently, "and I think I might be your dad." The children turned to Layla. Tears filled her eyes as she nodded. Noah was the first to move. He stepped forward and wrapped his arms around Jordan. "You stopped the bullies," he said softly. Jordan's breath caught. Ethan smiled shyly, standing close, watching carefully. Lily reached out and touched Jordan's face, studying him. "You have our eyes," she said quietly. Jordan let out a broken laugh as tears filled his own eyes. He pulled them close, laughing and crying all at once. Jordan helped Layla move to a better home. At first, she refused, but when he insisted it was for the children, she finally gave in. In the days that followed, he walked the children to school. He read bedtime stories. He learned, one day at a time, how to be a father. And slowly, Layla let her heart heal. One evening, Jordan held her hand and spoke quietly. "I'm sorry for what my mother did to you, and I'm sorry I believed her lies so easily. I should have fought harder." Layla's tears fell freely. Jordan took a breath. "I never stopped loving you," he said softly. "Not all these years." Layla looked at him through her tears. "And I never stopped loving you too, Jordan," she whispered. He held her hand tighter. The wedding did not happen fast. Jordan did not rush Layla. He wanted her to feel safe. He wanted her to trust again. So time passed. They healed. They laughed again. They learned how to be a family. Then one quiet evening, Jordan knelt in front of Layla in their living room. The children were busy watching cartoons, unaware of the moment unfolding behind them. "Layla," he said softly, holding her hand, "I lost you once before. I don't want to lose you again." Layla's eyes filled with tears. "Would you give me another chance?" he asked quietly. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Jordan took a steady breath. "Then marry me," he said, "not because of the past, but because I love you, and I choose you and our children every day." She smiled through her tears as he slipped a simple ring onto her finger. The wedding was small but beautiful. It was held in a quiet garden with white flowers and soft music. No reporters, no rich guests showing off, just love. Layla wore a simple white dress. She looked peaceful, strong, happy. Jordan waited at the front, nervous, like a little boy. But the most beautiful part were the children. Ethan and Noah wore small black suits. They walked slowly down the aisle, holding the rings with serious faces. Lily wore a soft white dress with flowers in her hair. She walked behind them, carefully throwing petals on the ground. Everyone smiled. Layla watched them and covered her mouth, tears falling. "This is my family," she thought. When Layla reached Jordan, he took her hands. Their vows were simple, but filled with love and meaning. And when they were pronounced husband and wife, they shared a soft, gentle kiss as the garden erupted with cheers. Later that evening, the family stood together, watching the sunset. Ethan held Jordan's hand. Noah leaned on Layla's shoulder. Lily laughed as petals stuck to her shoes. Jordan kissed Layla's forehead. "We made it," he said. Layla smiled. "Yes," she replied. "We did." As the sun slowly went down, Layla looked at her family and felt peace in her heart. Time had taken years from them, but love had never left. Some truths can be buried, but they never disappear forever. Moral of the story: love built on truth will always find its way back. And no matter how long it takes, what is meant for you will return. The end. Did you enjoy this story? Kindly let us know where you are watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching.